Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. I'm really excited about today's guest, Hesha Abrams. She's the founder CEO of Holding the Calm, and today's talk is going to be all about conflict resolution, negotiation, and some of the tools, tactics, and strategies to stay calm when the stakes are really high and the emotions are running high. So, Hesha, welcome.
Wow, my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I know you're quite you're traveling the executive, and so tell people about your story and what you do, and we'll get right into it.
Well, I'm an attorney mediator. I like to joke that I'm an attorney who evolved. I've been doing this 3 decades. I've done Facebook, Google, Microsoft, IBM, NVIDIA. I work with all the big ones, but also small ones too. I mediated the case over the ownership of the secret recipe of Pepsi, which was another very, very interesting story. And so I have a laboratory of 30 years of how do you solve conflict and reduce tension. And, conflict and tension can be, or it can be, which is actually worse. It's harder to deal with someone like that. And I like to joke that, 1,000 people can build a building and one idiot with a stick of dynamite tears it all down. Preserving and protecting what you've built and what you've done, you've got to know how to handle conflict. And yet 99% of people don't. Their blood pressure raises, they get angry. We're basically one-trick ponies. We try one thing. Oh, didn't work with you, Chris. You're an idiot. You're ridiculous. You're a sociopath. You're fill in the blank, And I'll tell everybody, I'm doing $1 billion case. And late at night, you know what the CEO's talking to me about? His idiot lacrosse coach that's screwing his kid on the team, or their difficult brother-in-law, or a crazy colleague. That's what they want to talk about. How do we do that? How do we handle some peace and harmony in our lives? So I'm happy to share some of that with you and your audience.
Yeah, I love that. And why is it that so many people, most recently, whenever, there's some sort of conflict, I started, before I used to shy back away, but now I start to get curious. I try to enter into their world. Why are people so conflict averse?
Well, let me give you a great analogy. We all know that if you drip spaghetti sauce or teriyaki sauce or barbecue sauce on the counter, if you wipe it up with a sponge, no problem, it's done. You leave it overnight, you're scraping it off with a knife, right? You leave it 3 months or 3 years, it's old and moldy and nasty. That, my friends, is conflict. And so we all know that. So why don't we wipe it up with a sponge early? Well, we don't know how. We're afraid we're going to make it worse. I tried and it failed. So we end up literally letting it wait and just get worse and worse and worse. And so that's the reason I wrote this book, which, I don't have a background on me, but, Holding the Calm, the secret to resolving conflict and diffusing tension, as a simple, little, cheap, inexpensive, easy to read paperback with 30 years of secrets and tricks. How do you do it? So you don't feel ill-equipped when you have to deal with the situation. You've got a couple of tricks. You've got some sentence stems. You got a little 4-part thing I call Vox. You've got a whole bunch of things that you say, I'm going to try that and see if that works. And, it's an Amazon bestseller. People are loving it.
What are some of the criterion? Because I know I've recently finished Crucial Conversations, but kind of tell the audience what are some of the situations, like the criterion when you should start implementing your tools and tactics.
Well, I say all the time, it's sort of like, when should you brush your teeth? Well, morning and night, because Chris, you and I are chatting with each other and this is lovely. But let's say you said something that offended me, or I said something that offended you. The dynamic changes like that quick. So it's noticing, okay, wet spaghetti sauce. I gotta wipe that up because I can see it in your face. People don't hide that from you. You see it in their face that something just went wrong. And it can either be, what's wrong with you that you react like that? Or let me get out my sponge, wet spaghetti sauce. How do I do that? And then there's ways that you do that. But chapter 1 of the book is speak into the ears that are hearing you. So if I'm going to talk to you, Chris, Let's say you're an introvert versus an extrovert. Shouldn't I speak to you differently? You know, you think about doctors, like, you go into a room and you just do the same thing you have to do with somebody. But if you want to be effective, you can tell whether someone's an introvert or an extrovert in 30 seconds. It's not hard. Yeah. How do you want to approach them? Just that way. How about a second one? Big picture versus detail. Big picture person is just handle it for me, just deal with it, get that all done. Detail person is, I want to know how. I want to know what's going on. I want to be involved. Great. Somebody that just wants to get rid of it, or somebody that wants to have control and power. These are really subtle, small things, but what I like about it is you can figure that out in 30 seconds talking to somebody. And let's say you're new at this game. Okay, it takes you 2 minutes. I mean, seriously, it's only hard because we make it hard. The books that are out there, a lot of them are selling an approach. Do it my way and you'll be successful. That's not why I wrote this book, because I don't think that's true. I think it's like blood types. Blood transfusions came around really in the late 1700s for the first time, but they weren't really used until the early 1900s. And you're losing blood. Okay, you come over here. I'll give you some blood. You lived, you died. Oh, well, until they figured out blood types. It's the same thing with these kind of conversations. You should never let anyone tell you there's only one way to do anything, ever. It's like personalized medicine. I need to see you and then go, okay, which one of my tools is going to work best with you? What outcome do I hope to achieve? Where am I trying to go with this? And then you try something, and let's say it doesn't work. Great, try the next one.
One thing that I developed this during residency when everybody was freaking out and just like, the hysterical or just the kind of the aggressive, jerk. And one of the problems was being able to get through them, get past that hysteria or just that aggressiveness. And so what are some tools to kind of, because how to help them, but it's just, you got to get through all that noise and jump to actually calm them down. What are some tools?
Exactly. So never in the history of calming down has anyone ever calmed down by being told to calm down. Now, I'm listening to doctors here, so you guys know what an amygdala is. When I talk, I have to do a little neuroscience for dummies and teach people what an amygdala is. What is the one thing that triggers the amygdala is powerless. If you say to somebody, oh, you're out of control, but I'm in control. You have no power, but I have power. All we've done is activate the amygdala even more. That's all we've done. Mm-hmm. So the first thing you do is you give up power. Simple, easy power. In a negotiation, it's what do we start with first? Where would you like to sit? Let's say you're dealing with a difficult guy on rounds. Yeah. You really don't know. Is it just a personality disorder? Is he off his meds? Does he need meds? Did he not get sleep? Did he have a fight with his wife? Does he have a very limited skill set? Is he emotionally immature? You don't have time to figure that junk out. All you're seeing is the symptoms. Well, the symptoms are easy. Somebody needs power. He needs some level of control. So you give it to him on stupid stuff. Where would you like to begin? How do you think we should start? Your advice is good. Just that lets the amygdala calm down. And then what happens is the person that's real aggressive is in, boom, a nanosecond, which is a billionth of a second. I look at you and say, friend or foe. That quick. Well, I want to switch it from foe to friend.
Yeah.
So I'm not a threat. I'm not a challenge. And if someone's really emotionally immature, I bow before your serious, superior wisdom. Who cares? What difference does it make? Because who's going to win the end? You don't think about the battle. You think about the war. So that's the simple stuff. In the book, I have a technique called VUX. Validate, understand, clarify, summarize. And I call it VUX because you can tell someone to VUX off, because nobody's going to forget it now, are you? The first step is to validate. Now, let's do the advanced course here. I can't validate you because you're an idiot, or you're rude, or you're selfish, or you're a narcissist, or you're a liar, or you're a power, whatever, right? I can't validate you. What I do is I name the emotion. You seem really angry. I'm not angry, I'm frustrated. Okay, you seem really frustrated. That's step one. What does that say to the amygdala? Calm the heck down. And neuroscientists have shown, when they shove people in MRIs with electrodes and stuff all over their heads, is that when people's amygdalas are triggered, they go into something called a refractory state, which interestingly, in almost everyone, lasts for about 20 minutes. And so what happens when someone's upset, we tend to give more information, more data, persuade. Why? The prefrontal cortex has shut down for 20 minutes. So pull it back. It's 20 minutes. All right. I mean, let's say I'm in a hurry. If this goes into conflict, it'll take days or weeks. 20 minutes. Let it calm down. Give a sense of power. Give a sense of control. Then you can have data, information, discussion, because now you have turned the person from seeing you as a foe to a friend. And these are like these simple techniques in the book. And what I do is I give people sentence stems. And so you want to know a good sentence stem to use, let's say at a holiday dinner when your idiot uncle spouts off and you just want to go, I want to kill you or shut up. And you just want to shut him up. This is the one that works every time for a talker that just won't shut up. You know what I admire about you? Silent. Not another word is spoken at all, because they're like, moi, you have my full attention. I want to hear what you have to say. And you use whatever verb works for you. You know what I admire about you. You know what I respect about you. You know what I understand about you. You know what I see about you. You know what I love about you. Whatever verb you want to use for that person that's authentic, they stop. And then you say something like your persistence, your determination, your enthusiasm, your courage. It's not hard. And what does that do to the person? They just kind of go, They don't know what to say or do after that. And now all of a sudden, you're a friend, not foe. You're not an enemy. You get me and no one else does. Maybe you're okay. And look at how I did that in a minute. A minute. I mean, I'm a mediator. I do big, huge cases with gigantic egos. I've done plenty of, doctor type cases, from doctors that invented things that are having patent cases, to med mals, to medical practices that are, fighting with each other over partnership junk. So doctors are the same as engineers and lawyers and scientists. It's all egos. You don't get to a high level of competence like you do in the medical profession unless you have a big ego. Otherwise, you survive the gauntlet of medical school and residency, right? So by definition, there is bumper car ego. So let's not whine and complain that chocolate cake is fattening and Brussels sprouts aren't. It is what it is. So you speak into the ears that are hearing you, and you handle it with what's going to get you the outcome you want. And that's why I did the book as simple, easy sentence stems, techniques, stuff like that people can literally, pick up this little paperback and just go boom, And what I find a lot of law firms and medical practices doing is having like little in-house trainings with it, with the nurses and the secretaries and the receptionists, because they're the front line of defense dealing with client retention, patient retention, and you're in the back. You don't even know what the heck is going on. So being able to have them know how to handle stuff. You want to have a successful practice, you make sure your frontline staff knows how to handle problems and treat people well. And then people go, what a nice office. Because they give you for very little time. They deal much more with your support staff.
Yeah, really interesting. And so you talked about just kind of how to calm the other person down through these diffusing tactics. What about yourself? Like, we get triggered all the time, whatever, how do you calm yourself down when you're triggered, or how do you remain civilized when, the shit hits the fan?
Yeah, I love that you asked that question. That's why I came up with that title of the book. The original book was all about negotiation strategies and how to handle difficult people, junk like that. And my publisher said, why are you good at what you do? Like, why do these big, huge companies hire you? And I said, well, I know how to hold the calm. And he goes, ooh, tell me about that. And that's literally what it is. I'm human. My amygdala gets triggered. Someone treats me rudely or disrespectfully, or I hate just I'm a woman, so I hate when I'm being dismissed, stuff like that. And literally what I will say to myself, like a talisman, is, or a mantra, I'm holding the calm, I'm holding the calm, I'm holding the calm. That takes 2 seconds. Now, neuroscience pop quiz, what did that do to my amygdala? It said, okay, girlfriend, you got choices. You got options here. Let's find the choices and options and let's not react. And it creates a moat around my feelings and what I choose to do about them. And what did it take? 2 seconds? Literally, that's why I call the book that, because I do it all the time, and it works to keep you centered. Oh, I got to look at you. How am I going to handle you? What is that going to be? But now I have power because I've got choices. And when I take the power, you thought we were playing football? No, we're playing golf. Still a ball, but I'm just going to change what we're going to do.
Yeah.
That's literally, think about it. I walk into a room and a plaintiff says, I want $25 million. And a defendant says, here's 25,000, go pound sand. I'm not settling that by outsmarting them or out-logicating them or giving them information. It's because I know how to do this. And that's why I wrote this book, so that other people can have advantage, for those kinds of things. And I'll give you one more quick analogy that I love. 25 cents each. How many would you buy? I don't know. I like apples. I'd probably buy 2 apples, 4 for $1, 35% boost in sales. Now, that's just stupid. I mean, it's completely illogical and totally stupid, and it works across every culture, every gender, every sexual orientation, every age. It's a human being thing. And you want an extra 10% boost in sales? Limit 2. Because that guy's not going to get my apples. It's ridiculous. And yet, that's human beings. So trying to do things with logic, reason, and rationale, honestly, are failure techniques. And I mean, it's job security for me when people do that, because then I get called in.
Yeah. Yeah, quite interesting. I'm just curious for myself, what role does, meditation help, or, you have to, take 10 minutes out of your day, get present? Is it different for introverts, extroverts? What role does that play?
Well, I'm a big believer that everyone has to do it their way. I personally do yoga and meditation, and I find that important and valuable for me, but I'm also busy. And sometimes I forget, and then the universe will come in and whop you upside the head and go, oh, yeah. I'm going to sit down and clear my mind, and mindfulness, because it just lets me think more clearly. When your amygdala is activated, you are not thinking clearly. You're thinking reactively. But when you get clear and I call it a moat, like you can step back and you can breathe, options and choices that were not there, all of a sudden become there. So it's having that presence of mind to do that. And if you do it by exercise, and you do it by meditation, and you do it by mindfulness, and you do it by singing in the shower, God bless. Whatever it is you do to get yourself into that zone state. And I always tell people, have some grace. Life is hard. If it were easy, all of us would be able to do it well. And people don't do it well. We know that. So you have some grace. And there's a Zen saying that I love, that you don't decide the character of a person by how many times they fall down, but by how many times they get up. So each time you do something that went well, you do a forensic, yay me. And every time something didn't go well, you go, what am I going to learn from this? My sister and I call them AFGEs, another freaking growth experience. Nobody wants, but you're dumb to not harvest the value out of them. So, such is life. And then that's, there's a story that I have put in the book that a friend of my husband's is a Navy SEAL. And, they're supposed to be able to tread water until they die. And so my husband said to him, so how long can you tread water? And he said, I don't know. I'm not dead yet. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I like to think about that for me in my work and what I do. How big can I get? How creative can I get? How patient can I get? How creative, how loving, how tolerant? I don't know. I'm not dead yet. So I better be better next year than I am this year. And the people listening to your podcast, we're already preaching to the choir, right? We already have people that want to just have continual self-improvement, the Six Sigma, Navy SEAL stuff. Why not? It makes life much richer. I'd rather I'm going to be alive. Let me at least have a rich, meaningful, valuable life rather than just kind of going through the motions.
I love that. How can people contact you, follow you on social media, check out the book, and reach out to you?
I appreciate that. I'm on LinkedIn, Hesha Abrams. I have a Facebook page, or on Facebook, and then the web page is holdingthecalm.com. So you can go to the web page. I've got podcasts on there on every topic and trainings, and all free. I just want people to get this information out there, and connect with me on LinkedIn because I'm posting new stuff all the time. My little baby paperback is everywhere. But if you're kind enough to get it on Amazon, please leave me a nice review because that helps the search engine demon gods. And we're just trying to get, the word out there that things don't have to be hard. It's like if you can't see and then I stick glasses on you, oh, I didn't even know how bad it was. That's what this is with tension and conflict. We don't have to live like that. So anyway, I hope it helps your audience.
Yeah, excellent. And really fantastic conversation, really interesting slant, tension, and conflict. Hesha's resources, all our social media channels will be in the links in the show notes. Be sure to check out the book on Amazon. I'm going to check it out as well right after this. And with that, thanks so much for coming on to the podcast.
My pleasure, everybody. Hope you have a great day.